Okay, I hereby call this meeting to order and would like to thank you for being here tonight. I thank our presenters and thank those that are watching us on live, and we appreciate that. We'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance, and that will be held or led by Grant Jackson.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Grant. Appreciate you. Okay, all our board members are here and in attendance, and there are a few addendums to the agenda. There's recognitions, Oakdale School District 25 Media and Communications Report, and a SIP committee minutes. I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda with the addendum.
I move that we approve the agenda with the addendum.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Is there any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? I hear none. That passed. Next on the agenda is approve the minutes. I would entertain a motion to approve the November board minutes as presented. Is there a motion?
I move that we approve the board minutes as proposed.
Is there a second?
A second.
Is there any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? I hear none. That motion passed. Next on the agenda is to approve the consent agenda, which includes authorization of payments of claim, approving the supplemental financial information, and approving the human resource activity. Is there a motion?
I move that we approve the consent agenda.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? That motion passed. Okay, next on the agenda are self-explanatory reports, which include the Idaho General Fund Revenue Report, the Food Services Free and Reduced Meal Eligibility Report, Food Services Outstanding Balance Report, Student Enrollment Report, and Student Suspension Report.
Jim?
Get it closer. I'm sorry. Okay. Okay, next on the agenda is public and written comment on topics not pertinent to the agenda action items. Written comment was received, and it's in the, and it's included in the addendum, and we have not received any requests for public comment. So now we'll move on to reports, and we'll start with,
Recognitions first, I believe, Mr. Chairman.
All reports is recognitions rendered,
Oh,
isn't it?
did you change the order today?
No, no, recognitions should be before that.
Were they? What?
Yes, please.
okay, yeah, Courtney, we'll move to Courtney.
Perfect. Good evening, Mr. Chairman, trustees, Dr. Helmus Johnson, and do we have student representatives here tonight? Yes. Okay, welcome. So tonight, we will recognize several individuals who, through their actions, support and embody our district's mission to think more, learn more, and be more together. So first up are our cake awards. Our district believes a safe, supportive, caring, and respectful environment is critical to student learning. The School District 25 Education Foundation, in partnership with McDonald's, supports the Learner of the Month Award to recognize one elementary learner and one secondary learner from our district from October through May. The Cake Award celebrates positive character, attitude, kindness, and encouragement toward others. And in addition to being recognized here at the monthly board meetings, the recipients receive a baking kit to make cupcakes at home with their families, and also special treats to delivered to their classrooms to be enjoyed with and among their peers. Nominations for the Cake Award are submitted by a teacher who has observed the learner's behavior and are approved by the district, the school's principal. So first up, we have our December Cake Award, and we have our secondary learner of the month. So please help me welcome Julian Pena up, and with his teacher, Mrs. Ann Roberts. You can stand just to the side of the podium, if you will. Julian is a senior at Highland High School, and Mrs. Roberts is his teacher. And in her nomination letter, Ms. Roberts wrote, "Julian is that rare gem of a student who makes a lasting impact on everyone fortunate enough to interact with him. He's one of those people who quietly enters a room and somehow makes it brighter. What immediately set Julian apart is his innate kindness, strong work ethic, and a sense of responsibility that goes above and beyond what is expected. He doesn't call attention to himself and probably doesn't realize the impact he makes on the world around him. However, he manifests kindness and respect and a willingness to learn that is exemplary. Julian is an outstanding student in every sense of the word. Every teacher wants to feel they are reaching their students and helping them learn. Julian gave this to me. His attentiveness during every lesson, the nods of understanding, eye contact, and responsiveness made all the difference for me. He willingly goes above and beyond in his work. Creative writing might not come naturally or easily to him, but he puts in the work. He revised his short story over and over again, carefully adding the components of each lesson, doing whatever was necessary to create quality work, even if he had already received full points on the assignment. He was willing to collaborate with any student and put forth his best efforts to help others when asked. But the beautiful thing about his character is that I never needed to ask. After I dismissed class, I would frequently turn around and see him there straightening up my room without prompting and without staying for thanks or reward. My day was made better by his kind manners and genuine enthusiasm for my lessons, even the boring ones. Julian serves as a poignant reminder of my why as a teacher." Well, that's a pretty powerful testament, Julian. In addition to the certificate, you will get, congratulations. You'll get a cupcake kit, which we have here for you tonight. You'll also receive a gift card from McDonald's and you as well from our sponsor, partner in this award, Johnson Family McDonald's. They're local. And your library is also going to receive a $50 donation in your name to purchase books that you'll be able to help select. So please join me in congratulating Julian, and if you'll say hello to Great letter.
Julian, keep up the good work. Thank you. Awesome, thank you.
Great job.
Quite a young man. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks. Wonderful.
Okay, next up, we have our elementary learner of the month, Miss Jada Jackson. Will you and your teacher, Mrs. Katie Burrup, please join me at the podium? Hello, and thank you so much for joining us tonight. Do you want to stand right up here so we're not hiding you behind the podium? You are little. So Jada is in the first grade at Chubbuck Elementary School, and Mrs. Burrup is her teacher. In her nomination letter, Ms. Burrup wrote, "Jada is the most kind and genuine little person. She's extremely thoughtful and tries her best to make sure everyone feels included and valued in our classroom. She will partner up with everyone and will go out of her way to include classmates that don't have a buddy. Jada will stand up for her peers. I've watched it happen out on the playground. She treats everyone with respect and kindness, even in situations where her kindness goes unnoticed. Jada does the right thing just because she knows it is right, not because she is looking to be praised. We had a friend in our class that was having a very hard day. I knew that it was a rough day for them, but the rest of the class was oblivious except for Jada. Jada checked on this person over and over again. I also heard Jada ask if she wanted to play with her at recess. After they came in from playing, I chatted with the kid that was having a rough day, and she told me, "Jada made me feel better. I hope she will always be my friend." This is just one example of her kindness. She does things like this all the time. She will often bring me little notes before school that says things like, "I love you, I hope you have a great day." I know that she genuinely means those things. We just recently did candygrams at our school. Jada paid attention to which kids didn't receive any or less than others. She took the time to write each of them a candygram. Jada is a fantastic student as well. She cares for her learning and wants to get better every day. She often will help our classmates that need help with a smile on her face, and she will encourage them and feel their own so that they feel that their own success. It seems to make her happy when those around her are happy. She enjoys school and always has a positive attitude. She's a joy to teach. I'm so glad I've had the chance to be her teacher. Wow, another just wonderful testament. So Jada, you get this certificate and congratulations. I love your sweater too. Jada, you're also going to get a cupcake kit and a gift card from McDonald's for you and your teacher. And then you're going to get a donation, $50 made in your name to purchase books for your school library, okay? So if you'll say hello to our board members and thank you for one more round of applause. there's a reason this is my favorite part of board meetings, because I get to meet all these wonderful students from our district that I normally wouldn't get to meet. So awesome. Okay, next up, we have our December Employee of the Month, or our PIES Award. The Employee of the Month PIES Award recognizes our employees who positively influence educational success. The award is for employees who go above and beyond in that effort, and Lookout Credit Union partners with us in providing this award. So I would like to invite Mr. Pat Shaw and Ms. Janelle Arvis to the podium, please. And I apologize, Pat, we surprised Pat. We don't normally surprise. We don't normally surprise people. Just stand up or something.
Yeah, like the kids.
So Pat was nominated for this award by Janelle Arvis, and Pat works in the help desk, and I believe he just got another role too, application specialist. So Pat is all things technology in our world, and we appreciate him so much. So in her nomination letter, Ms. Arvis wrote, Pat has a really difficult job. It can be tough being only one of two people answering calls and assisting teachers with technology issues. No matter what, Pat goes above and beyond to figure out problems and does what he can to troubleshoot. Not only does he help figure out the problems, but he also does so with the kindest tone and is always upbeat and positive. Not only does Pat help teachers, but he has assisted both my coworker and myself with technology issues we deal with. We both know that we can always count on Pat to help when in need. I know that many of us are appreciative of his hard work and dedication to helping the teachers and staff in our district, which also helps our learners, because without technology, we can't serve our learners. We are so lucky to have him. And I wanted to add my own personal note of thanks too. I can attest to Pat's outstanding contributions to School District 25, whether he's engineering our podcast recordings, live streaming board meetings, or managing audio for all the many presentations we do, both on-site and off-site, hosting of the legislature, community meetings, our kickoff meetings to the school year. Pat lends an expertise and calm demeanor critical to supporting these efforts with professionalism and grace. He's always willing to pitch in at a moment's notice with solutions and a smile. So thank you, Pat, for your contributions. You're going to receive a $50 gift card from Lookout Credit Union, who's our partner in this award. And you get a $25 gift card from the nomination. And thank you so much for your contributions to our.
Yes, yes, thank
Thank you,
you.
sir.
And that concludes our recognitions. Thank you.
Thank you, Janelle.
Nope. Thank you, Ms. Fisher. Appreciate those.
Thank you.
Appreciate those of you who have done so well. Okay, now we get to move on to reports.
Yes.
Sorry.
Nope, that's
I just jumped right over that. I don't know why, but I did. Anyway, we will start with the student representatives. Maybe. Do we have one? Okay. Are you the only one? Come up and tell us who you are and what school you're from.
I'm Allie, and I'm from Century. So this last weekend we had our state drama, and we won for 4A 4 times in a row, so that was awesome. We are also doing our annual Hunger Games, which is where we earn money for students at our school, and we collect coats and food and gifts. And we did it for 27 Century families. SpongeBob the Musical just had auditions. Basketball and wrestling are going on. Dance and cheer have competitions this weekend. Band has a concert Thursday. Choir had one last week, and orchestra has one tonight. And we had 2 national merit finalists, Evie Britton and Josh Agers. So, yeah.
What are the dates of SpongeBob?
I don't have the dates yet,
Okay.
but I'll
We
let
need
you
to
know
get
next
the
time.
dates. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Okay. Okay, now back to Courtney Fisher, who will provide us a media report and communication relations update.
Am I supposed to move this? New microphones, so. Okay, hello again. So my most exciting thing to report to you tonight is that I have changed the format of our monthly communications report, and I've been wanting to do this for a while, to put it in a more visual format for you to glance at. So I did kind of a hybrid this month where I did my normal report. You have all the links in that report, and then I did the visual version. It's mostly the same material. The full set of links will be in that first report, that just kind of Word document. But we included the same information, just wanted to make it in a little bit more interesting format for you to review. So we did our social media at a glance, just talking about our followers and our subscribers on YouTube. Those are holding pretty steady. We generally get probably about 100 Facebook followers new every month. So just steady climbing as people move in and out. That's a pretty steady thing for us. Facebook also continues to have the best reach. We post on Twitter, or X, if you call it X, if you've moved over, migrated to that new name. I have not yet. Instagram, YouTube, Facebook continues to have the best reach for us by far, with almost 12,000 people. So we get about 23,000, almost 24,000 post reach, really good engagement. And so I just kind of wanted to show you the bird's eye view of that. Also, our live streams continue to perform at about 100 to 135 views per month, depending on whether it's a regular board meeting or a special meeting. I also included on here headlines of interest. You can still click through right on that PDF to those headlines. I categorized them so that you could just sort of see, what's specific to us with that 3-part series for PV Tech, what was written about the bond or property taxes that would be pertinent to your information, some of our achievements, which we had many. As the gal just stated from the high school, we had 7 merit semifinalists, national merit finalists this year. So we wanted to highlight that. Also, Highland football won the state championship, and we also had repeat championships from both Century and Highland drama teams, and so those articles are all there for you. And then I like to include information from around the state that's pertinent to you. Locally here, we're looking at 5 finalists for the ISU president search, which will impact our community, and then an interesting article out of Nampa about potential elementary school closures that I wanted to draw your attention to. The rest of the headlines are all in that other document. And then I wanted to show you a visual format of some of really trying to identify lately what are our top performing posts. And sometimes there's no rhyme or reason to them. They just happen to resonate with people. And so I did the top 2 over the last 28 days. And the first one was just a random donation of $900 from just a couple in the community. They were not looking for any sort of publicity or praise, yet that story, they gave $900 to pay off some negative school lunch balances. And so that story got quite a bit of traction. And then the second in the top 2 was that national merit. So lots of shares and lots of likes and just interaction that way and engagement. I wanted to show you some of the community relations that is happening. We've had we always have year-round generosity, but it's a little bit more outspoken this time of year. So ISU Credit Union stopped by, Idaho Central Credit Union stopped by last week to surprise us with, they wanted to pay off one school's negative lunch balance. And so they chose Tendoy, and so we applied that $220 to pay off that balance. And then the Giving Tree at Lewis and Clark, that's a really great story. I wanted to include that for you, as well as a picture, and just kind of bring to life, the ways that we're out and about in the community, and our partners are making a difference in the community. Same with the Greater Pocatello Association of Realtors. They do this activity every year where they raise money throughout the year, and then at Christmas time, they work with our community resource workers in the schools to identify families. And the entire front office and that tree was just filled with gifts, and it's quite spectacular. It seems to get bigger and better every year, so this is one way that we can show our appreciation to them by publicly recognizing them in this meeting. And then I think that is it. I'm going to continue to add things and refine and revise this. Just wanted to kind of get it out for you this month in this format, so move forward from
I
there.
like it, looks good.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, next on the agenda is curriculum and instruction, school safety and athletics. We'll start with AJ Watson.
Good evening, board members. I have 3 items that I will present to you, and we'll actually start, so on here, we're gonna be starting with B. Sue will come when she comes and go back to alternate routes for graduation. So the first item, this is a 4th grade social studies curriculum resource purchase. This is an action item for you tonight. Just a little bit of background and information related to this purchase. In June of 2021, 5-year digital licenses were purchased for all 4th grade teachers. This was to give them access to what's called Idaho Adventure online resource, and this also went along with the textbooks that they use in 4th grade. Those textbooks, there were only about half of the number of textbooks were able to be purchased at the time, so each class was given about half of a classroom set of those textbooks. However, the digital license did not align with the older textbooks, and so we are asking and looking at purchasing the new textbooks, the new version to go along with the digital version so that they align, and also purchasing enough textbooks so that every student in 4th grade, they do a lot of Idaho history in 4th grade, and they love Idaho history, and so do the teachers that teach 4th grade. They're very passionate about Idaho history. So as we looked at options and discussed what that could look like, there's not a lot of resources and a lot of curriculum out there just directly for Idaho history. It's kind of limited in terms of the resource. So we decided that it would be best to consider purchasing and look at purchasing the new curriculum, the updated version, I guess is what it is, not a new curriculum, just the updated version to go along and more align with the online resource. And then that way they would also have access for every learner to have their own textbook as well. And this will be for 1,000 student textbooks and 42 5-year digital teacher licenses at a cost of $59,376, as you have in there. Any questions about that? Okay, the second item I have on here, this is always an exciting one, the proposed calendar for the new school year. It really is. People do really get excited about the calendar for whatever reason that is. We met as a calendar committee last month in November and put together a draft calendar. I just want to highlight a few items, a few dates that were different than the calendar from this year, just so you can be aware as you look at that. I know you have it in your packet. To start the school year, this last year we had 5 teacher days, professional development work days prior to the start of school. This year the calendar only has 4 work days prior to the start of school, with one of those days, a professional development day, being moved to November. So as you look down towards that November 1, you'll see there's 2 professional development days that were added into November. One of those is the election day that has worked really well for us to take as a professional development day, just because it keeps learners out of the building, and with the elections and all the voting taking place, it makes it much nicer for us just to have staff members and do professional development. The first day of school on there is on a Wednesday, August 21st, and will be for 1st through 12th graders. And then the first day for that's a kindergarten orientation day, and then the 22nd would be the first day for kindergarten learners. The last day of school, as you look down there, would be Thursday, May 29th, and then record day or graduation day would be on a Friday, May 30th, and then teachers would check out that Monday, June 2nd. The other dates, although a little bit different as far as the days, they're pretty much the same as far as the breaks and the amount of time. So that is up for your action for the 2024-2025 school year. Any questions?
Question.
Yes,
Yeah,
please.
just because I've had some people ask, when did we go to the full week at Thanksgiving? That hasn't been forever, has it?
How long ago? Do you know, Renee?
It was 2010 pay cuts.
2010?
2010. Because the question that had come up is why you do that full week and then and then go after Memorial Day. 'Cause it seemed like for a while we were done by Memorial Day. And do we struggle getting people to come back?
And we have had, yes, and we have had questions about that as well. And one of the other things that we did notice as well is that ADA on that week took a hit, our attendance, because it was only 2 days that we were coming that week. So it's kind of a balance of
Oh,
a
you mean
lot of people.
Thanksgiving week?
Thanksgiving week, yes, sorry. Thanksgiving
Oh,
week,
I
a number of people were taking off as well because they're like, well, we only have 2 days, so it's a great time for us to go. So we did see attendance, and I guess I'm talking from prior experience, from what I've been told since I wasn't here, but I've told our attendance did take a little bit of a hit
And you
during
don't
that
get a
week.
hit after Memorial Day, coming back?
You know, the nice thing about Memorial Day, maybe a little bit in elementary, but not much because they want to finish out the school year with their friends and the things that they have going. But at high school where they have finals, maybe I'm speaking out of turn, but I don't know that we see as much
Well-
hit because of high school and finals and the required finals.
And I just noticed a comment from teachers that they appreciated that time to finish grades before the last day, that kind of that long weekend. So I personally really like a week off at Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I mean, I've loved it, but I just.
Just
some people
because
had asked
it
about
doesn't
that.
work.
It
when
has.
you're
It's kind of one
trying
of
to
those
visit
that's, yeah, back
family.
and forth, a couple days here versus a couple days at the end of the year. And when we did a survey, because I was on the calendar committee prior to when I was a principal, we did a survey and sent it out. And the top one was 2 weeks at Christmas. And then the next one after that they preferred was 1 week at Thanksgiving, which is interesting as far as the
Yeah.
we received.
Yeah, I don't love coming back after Memorial Day, but after hearing that it was better for the teachers, I thought, well, if it's better for them to be able to get their grades in, then that's, I mean. But one question I have
Yes.
is, on the October 3rd, that little, the little star,
Yes.
that's really hard. I don't know if there's a way to have no school for elementary, one color, and no school for everyone, one color, or something.
That's just confusing. Is that what you mean
It's
on the
very
calendar?
confusing, because
We can
I
look at-
had friends, and even me, I was like, let's go, we have no school, and then we had to cancel.
Yeah.
And friends too, and I didn't see that star down there on the left,
Got it.
on the right.
We can look at, we
I
tried a
don't
couple
know.
different ways to make it
I
more clear,
know.
because the first year we did it, it was really confusing, and they've gotten a little more used to it, so we can look at options to maybe
yeah,
make
I
that a little
mean,
more
not a
clear
big
for that
deal,
third
but
and fourth.
I don't know if there's just this
Just-
one color for everyone and one color for either one or the other. I don't know.
We'll
One
look at
color
some
for-
options and see what we can do.
It's on February 7th, too.
On February 7th, there's one too?
February 7th is also, and that would be for everyone. Those are the
I don't
parent-teacher
see that
conference, parent-teacher conference days.
There's
So-
2 sevens on 7th of February.
Yeah, February 7th, Friday, February 7th is a parent-teacher conference day. So that's no school for everyone.
For everyone.
For
Right.
everyone
Okay,
on
yeah,
that
it's
day.
just that it's hard to differentiate
With the two,
what,
Two
yeah, because up
colors.
there, it just says no school, the yellow.
right.
We're like, sweet, long,
So there's that other 3 and 4 underneath, but it is confusing. So we can look at a way to maybe make that not quite as confusing. The ADA one, it lists it out on there, but if you're just looking, a lot of people just use this one with the colors, and so we'll see what we can do to
Yeah.
make that a little clearer for everyone.
yeah.
Thanks for the input. Any other questions about the calendar? Okay, and then the last item I have is in regards to a Head Start and the monthly program report. A lot of that in there is self-explanatory, and you can read through the information. There is one action item, however, and that involves the annual self-assessment. And nothing changed on here. They do this every year. They just change the dates when it will be taking place, and it needs to be approved by the Policy Council and also by the school board for them to participate in the self-assessment. And as it conducts this, it really is an opportunity for them to identify areas where they can set goals and make progress, identify progress moving forward. It just needs board approval for them to start that process and complete their annual self-assessment.
I just have one other question
Yes.
about the textbooks. Can we just run that through the committee just to approve it? I don't see any reason why, I'm fine with it. And I don't see any reason why anybody would, but we had talked about having a standing committee that just, receives all the updates. Because anytime there's an updated version or a new online version, it's technically supposed to go through that committee, and I'm just wondering if it would be easier just to have a standing committee that,
So you would
you
recommending creating a standing
well, just the one that,
textbook committee?
the.
Because I
the
think
one that
each
The law says, the textbook adoption committee.
textbook adoption
I mean,
committee,
is that,
we'd have to pull everybody together and,
no, I mean, just like the 10, that would just I don't know. Maybe this is a conversation for another time, but I
Sure.
don't know how to approve it without having it gone through. Because if it was something like, this is a committee, but then at your convenience, will you please come and look through these things? And then give your feedback, and then once everybody's feedback is there, it's done.
But my understanding is not new curriculum, though.
This is
No,
not,
it's
it's
an
just a, it's just an updated
Which is
version of the
included.
textbook. on the-
Yeah, it's a
don't-
bit of an extension, but we're still pulling back on the original too by purchasing
Yes.
additional textbooks.
I
Yeah.
didn't see it.
Yeah,
Yeah, any updates is included, but maybe it's not included. So maybe we can talk about that later,
okay.
We can definitely take a look at that, and I can pass it
just to be
to
sure.
Amy as well, and take a look and make sure we're okay, and we can talk with
Yeah, just make sure
Superintendent
that
Howell, and
it's
make sure
okay.
we're okay to move forward. with
I don't
that.
have a problem with the textbook.
Okay.
That's not at all
Right.
what it is, but I just want to be
Making
sure
sure we're
that
following
we're
that.
running it through the way that we're supposed to.
Sounds good. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I get next, Sue Pettit.
Okay, we're gonna go back to A,
Mm.
and thank you for letting us rearrange that a little bit. We had 6 learners at New Horizons that have completed the alternate route to graduation in place of the ISAT requirement, and we are asking for the board to approve the alternate route for graduation for those 6 as presented. And then, Infinite Campus IC and Technology Department updates. I'm happy to tell you that our state reporting, as of about 12 o'clock this afternoon, is ready to be submitted for our December submission. They've asked if we could wait till Thursday to submit it, and I said, why? And they said, well, because there's errors and then there's warnings. Errors have to be cleaned up. Warnings, it's nice if you would look at. They would very much like to look at some of those warnings and see if they can get those cleaned up in the next day and a half. And I said, you know, when you are totally sick of state reporting for the month of December, you let me know and we'll submit it. So they just want to try and see if they can clean up a couple of those warnings, and they have a few minutes, a little bit to do that. It's not due officially until Friday, and so they'd like to see what they can do to clean those up. Our Chromebooks, we are ordering, we had to find some space to store 69 pallets of Chromebooks. So there was some rearranging in our storage areas that needed to happen, and that's finished. And so they're going to be ordering those right after winter break and for next year's replacement schedule for our Chromebooks. And then last but not least for me is the out-of-state overnight travel request, as you have one currently. And that is for our cheer squad from Century High School to go to Las Vegas for Cheer Nationals, which they have earned the right to go to. And
Is this their first year?
I think it's their
Oh,
second.
there's Ms. Bixton nodding, yeah.
First, that's awesome.
Their first.
Congratulations.
Yep. So yes,
Yes, yay.
they've worked really hard to achieve that, and so they would like to go to Vegas. And that, I believe, is only, it's one school day. It might be 2. But they're earning the money to take care of that. And goes along. So, great. Questions on any of that? All right.
Okay, and next we'll go to Tanya.
So I just have a couple of things to share with the board tonight, and the first is the camp request. We have a new camp request with the FCLA putting on the Cooking and Crafting Kids Clinic. I might have to go to that at Century High School. So they're going to raise money for the FCLA. And then the last thing is Westmark, who had donated the funding and support for the turf up at Highland High School baseball facility, come back and wanted to have additional funding for a clubhouse and a windscreen. The windscreen would be facing in, where it would have Westmark on it and Highland High School Rams.
Mm.
So all 3 sections, left field, right field, center field, would have the windscreen up.
That
And
goes in the
then,
fencing?
what's that?
And that goes in the fencing?
Yes,
This is for baseball?
yes.
Okay.
And then clubhouse, so this is just to hold all their supplies, bats, equipment, and for the kids to be able to put their things inside
Where are
a
they gonna put,
facility when
where are
they're.
they gonna put that?
They have a cement pad up there already that is 2 hitting batting cages, and they don't need the whole facility, the cement pad for that, so they're gonna put it on half of that.
I see.
So they already have a location right
Yeah.
behind,
side of the field?
So it would be between, it's behind the visiting side, so it's between the east side, between the baseball field and Gateway.
Gateway, oh,
Mhm.
okay.
There's a
okay.
batting cage back there, so this would fit in a portion of that. So we wouldn't have to put a new cement pad down or anything, so there wouldn't be any additional funding. All that Westmark had asked in the 34,000 it would cost for those two items would just start their 10-year term this year, rather than they did donate that funding for the turf 2 years ago, and it took us a minute to get it up and running and so forth. So we haven't even used the turf field yet, so we felt like that was a reasonable request.
Cool. No electricity to that building?
No, they won't need electricity, but I'm sure they will down the road want some, but not in the beginning, no.
Not in the cars yet, huh?
We don't have lights out there or anything for that facility, so everything's during the daylight anyway.
Perfect.
Okay, thank
Okay,
you.
thank you. Okay. Okay, now they're out of order here. I started that off, and we'll just keep on going out of order. Okay, we'll now move on to business operation reports will be presented by Jonathan Balsam.
Good evening, board members. Appreciate your time tonight. It seems like it's been a long time, a month or so ago, but it was only 2 weeks ago that we met regarding Highland High School. The minutes are there in the addendum there, or in your packet. Again, we don't have a significant update for you. We discussed getting with Highland High School, looking at having working with them to create a priority list of some of their needs and wants there as we kind of go through this process as well. And then we also talked about probably the start of the new year, getting back our team, our construction team, our design team, to kind of continue answering your questions, getting any of the details that you need to help to make this decision and push and do what we need to do there for Highland. And that's.
And I guess with that, we had talked about, I had just called and asked about meeting together with the design, construction, and figuring out a plan so that we can get them going on the design and move forward as quickly as possible. So, just so people don't feel like nothing's going on. That'll be a huge priority. So that even without the bond, we move forward, but then hopefully we can have another phase if we do it that way. Possibly.
Yeah, and there's a balance of, okay, spending taxpayer dollars versus how much detail we go in the unknown of until the decision is made by the board, by our community again. So yeah, we can definitely discuss that and do just as much as we can with the information that we have.
Hey, Jonathan.
Yes.
So I have a question about the insurance.
Yes.
Is there any way to show how much insurance is going to pay for the gym, or how much they're going to pay for the cafeteria?
And break that out.
And break it out into how much each section is going to cost.
Okay.
Because I guess it
I will
is
say that will
different
be.
price per square foot. Like a kitchen would be a different price per square foot than
Yeah.
a gym versus a cafeteria versus a choir, right? I mean, they're all different prices in square footage. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, just
Well-
because.
Yep.
People are like, it's going to cost $47 million to,
Sure.
build this new gym and this new cafeteria. People don't realize the cost of inflation. I mean, the cost of materials
Oh, correct.
has gone up exponentially since Century was built.
Absolutely.
And they're like, why is it so expensive to, update Highland when it only costs us this much to build a whole new high school?
Correct. So you asked a couple of good questions there, and I'll try to answer them the best I can. To your first question about, dollars for the gym and so forth. They are extremely detailed, and we've only seen one or two drafts of how they're going to reimburse us, but it is down to the line item of linear feet of baseboard, square foot of sheetrock, of paint.
So the insurance has set out how much they will pay for the
Well,
building
that's
of the gym?
part of this negotiation that we've seen a couple drafts, and we said, no, remember this. And this is kind of where we're looking at pictures, and Highland High School administrators are helping us kind of to make sure we're getting as most of this claim as we can. And so to do it by different location as a total, it might be a little bit of a challenge. For example, just if when you have your car fixed, I don't know if you've ever seen those detailed records of all the nuts and bolts, even down to the nuts and bolts that they put into fixing your car. That's essentially what they're doing with this high school. So to put it into a dollar amount per the gym, that might be a little bit of a.
Could the builders or the architects give us that?
Correct.
Like, could the
Yep.
builders give us the cost for the build of the gym?
Yep, and and some of that information is on the documents that we shared last week. We could ask for a little bit more detail. It's easier to get that from our builders
Than the
than
insurance?
the
Yeah.
insurance.
Do you envision, though, that we will at some point we will have an insurance number, even if it's not broken out by a total insurance number?
Isn't it 23 million currently, and we're trying
I
to
thought that
get
was
them
the
up to
estimate.
25? I
Are-
thought it was.
that's
I
where
know
we
we're not trying
estimated
to nail, I'm not asking for
No, I
specifics
know.
today,
I
but
understand.
isn't that what the ultimate goal is, what we're gonna get to, is say, okay, this is what we're going to receive from insurance, not an estimate, because I thought the 23 was just an estimate.
Well, I thought it was
It's
based on.
it's 25.
We went
Or
to,
25.
I thought it was that
Sorry.
we went to the design and construction team and said, how much would it cost to rebuild what was burned in the fire?
Yeah.
And their estimate was $25 million.
That's correct.
And so then when we took it to the insurance, they said, well, we'll pay 22 million, correct? And we're trying to make them, help them to realize that we can't do that because the estimate was 25 million.
Correct. And so that's.
Is that right?
This is where it gets really complicated, Jonathan. If you'll step back just maybe one or two further
Okay.
and talk about the replacement versus actual cost and depreciation. And so that's where these numbers get a little bit confusing, and it's so hard to explain.
It is.
Yeah, but it becomes a bit of an unknown with these complicated formulas. So if you'll just talk about,
But when does it become known, right? I mean,
When
is it
we rebuild
When
it.
we decide that we're either gonna rebuild as a replacement or rebuild with enhancements, that's when it becomes known?
It becomes
the
known
chicken
at
or
the
the
end of the
until,
project?
yeah,
Right?
until
That's what
we have square footage, exact numbers, that configuration, we would have to know what the district will have to contribute versus what will be replaced for like, kind, and quality.
Correct.
And code
It's
enhancements, right?
frustrated
Correct,
because
that's
they
correct.
wanna know what that number is.
Yeah,
Correct.
But
And
it is
that's
the
where
brand new of like quality, right? We
They have-
don't get the depreciated value of the like, kind, and quality.
no, we do not,
get the
but
new-
it's calculated in at the front end of
Correct. So,
everything.
and then that's where Dr. Howell mentioned, it's called ACV, actual cash value, versus RCV, and that's the replacement cash value. So we get the ACV, which does take off depreciation, and on a built in 62 building, I mean, we're getting like half until we go and replace it. Then we will get the RCV, which is the current price, the increased prices. That's the amount that we get. We're doing the same thing with contents. Is something that was really old. Okay, we initially we get a lower amount until we replace it. We have to prove that by invoices. This is what we lost. This is what we're replacing. And yes, it is much more expensive, but that RCV is what we get.
And there's also codes.
Correct.
We have to make sure we're,
Yes, absolutely. And we
Like
just did receive that from our architect, is he and his team went through the plans and said, okay, these are some code enhancements, and I'm gonna, again, even tomorrow, submit that to insurance and say, okay, I need to make sure that all of these items, from everything from ADA access to bigger restrooms, you know, that accommodate, that you've mentioned several times, Ms. Judy, that they are all in there. And so, to answer your question, Ms. Clark, is not having gone through this whole process, that's the hard thing. They have said that they are going to basically approve every pay application of Bateman Hall. So that would be once a month that we would submit, and they would make sure it's like, kind, and quality, and then reimburse us. So again, if we take a year to rebuild, then the costs are gonna go up 3 to 4%, and they said they would pay for that. So again, as we disclosed to our community, that again, we're estimating it should be 25 million, and that's what we're pushing for, because that's what the replacement is.
And that's what our construction team estimated, the cost of like kind, and quality replacement of
Yes,
of what we lost,
that is correct.
$25 million.
That's correct.
And the insurance doesn't have a timeline where,
They do not.
The
We've asked
building
that
has to be
several
built.
times. We do not have I can't remember the formal, the legal insurancee's question, but it's basically, yeah, there is no time after a loss clause or anything like that. So,
So if it takes 2 years or 3 years
Correct.
and the price goes
We're-
up, they still have to pay for that,
correct, they would still
the
have to
current
pay for
price.
that. Just so you know, conservatively, that's where we're pushing for that, and, we have many different, avenues to still explore. We're looking at past bills. Okay, we replaced these heating units just 3 years ago. Well, we have that, and we've given that to increase that low number that they initially started with. And then that being said, then I also, I want to keep a little bit in the savings, just to make sure. But we will make sure we have enough to put back Highland the way it needs to be.
And you're talking about savings aside from insurance
Correct. Just
payout.
but again, that's just within, those are dollars that we've talked about.
From district resources.
Yes, that is
There you
correct.
go.
Thank you. Excellent question. I wish I was an expert on that or could see the crystal ball. So these broad statements, which are sometimes hard for people to understand, they want concrete. I want, a check for this amount, and we have received some for the building, some of this ACV amount on the things that they have verified that we know for sure are there. And so it's just kind of the process that we're going through, and that's the information I have to share.
But basically, it's $25 million is what, based on what the construction,
Correct.
I mean, that's what.
Yeah, that's the
what
number
we
that
just
we're
have to-
using.
That's the only
move
thing
forward.
we know right now,
Sure.
Yeah.
right? That's
Uh-huh,
the number we've
based
been
on the
given,
numbers.
based on the construction
Today.
cost,
Today.
the design fees,
Yep.
like, kind, and quality replacement. That's the estimate, the only thing that we have right now.
Exactly.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
that's,
We feel pretty confident in that number.
we do.
And as Jonathan pointed out, even with the contents on that replacement value, it was, let's say, 50%. But then as we've invoiced for new uniforms and they come in twice that, then we're reimbursed for the replacement value. But essentially, that protects the insurance company so that you can't say, well, I'm going to buy the most expensive ones and get paid for that, and then turn around and buy something cheaper and then pocket the money or something, right?
Correct.
And so that's why it's a replacement based upon invoice, and that would be exactly the case with our construction team. And as they submit invoices for contracting work as well as supplies and equipment and so forth, then that becomes the hard number instead of those soft numbers, if you will.
Yeah.
And-
But I think it's easier, I mean, to me, it's easy to understand that it's $25 million unless when, during the process, if it costs more, we have to, based on receipts, then the insurance would only pay for an increase in the cost of what they had originally agreed to pay.
Yeah.
Correct.
So then if we increase the square footage, then that comes to the district. Mhm. Yeah.
Which, the thing about the bathrooms, there were 3 bathroom stalls in the women's locker room. And so my question was, how do we add bathroom stalls if we don't make it any bigger? Because it was small already,
Sure.
built in
That's a
1963.
code thing, right?
Correct.
So
Yep,
they
that-
would
that
have
is
to
a
make
code.
it
They would-
bigger and cover the cost of that.
Correct, they would have to, increase
But I
that.
thought that was something that they were
No,
not
no.
agreeing to. Are they agreeing?
No, yeah, no, that would definitely was,
So they will pay
that's a
for more square
straightforward code,
footage
correct.
for that item?
correct.
Okay. That's a
So
relief.
it's one of those, yes, I'd love to wrap it up for you as a Christmas present, say this is what we got, but that also protects us during construction. Let's say that labor costs go through the roof. Well, they're paying for that. I mean, I'm submitting a monthly application. Here's, as we're getting that pay app from the Bateman Hall, we're submitting that to insurance, and okay, here's that cost, and yeah, our costs are going up, but you're gonna have to pay for it. Because that's what our interest is for.
Yeah. I think so many questions are based on, but won't you get this money for the insurance? And then what are you gonna spend that on? That's not how it works at all.
Correct,
We don't get money
correct.
until
We
those
s-
things are
Until you submit
replaced
it
and those things
Right.
are rebuilt.
Uh-huh.
There is no pot of money that the district has.
Sure. It just, and again, put yourself in the insurance shoes. Yeah, they're definitely not gonna give anything that's not gonna go strictly to replace the contents, bring Highland up to code. Anything that was done, they scrutinize every emergency bill, every mitigation bill, everything. The last one was, we had a company, it was cheaper to clean all the technology rather than replace the technology, and so they're going over that bill with a fine tooth comb. And so I sit on that bill until I get approval from insurance, get that money, and it takes some time, but then we pay in installments to this technology cleaning company. So that was just one that is just recently happening, so.
Such a hard job.
Sure, I wish I had all the answers, but that's what I,
Your
that's what I
job's
have.
just like, I don't know, times 100. Just increased a lot
Correct.
from this. Thank
Good
you.
question. Did I answer all yours, Ms. Oliver?
Yep.
Okay, if I can continue on, this is our annual capital improvement plan, or we call it SIP program. And so I have a couple of slides in front of you. Some of them that you've seen. Again, appreciate Ms. Judy and Ms. Clerk representing the school board on our committee. And you can see the members that are on that committee there. Again, a timeline. We met 3 times to review requests, dollars, big picture, even down to the smaller details of the requests. The third page that kind of has 2 gold bars in there is the one kind of a summary page. Again, starting on the revenues, we definitely appreciate our taxpayers as that school plant facility levy is about 80% of what funds our improvements to our schools every year. You can see some little bit money in investments, and there is the money from the state lottery match was about 13% that contributes to the revenue of our capital improvement plan. Again, this is a new, not a new fund, but this is a fund, Fund 420, where all of these revenues and expenditures are accounted for. And so you can see the balance that is carried forward, that's contained within the future projects and so forth. 6.5 million. So again, you can see almost 15 million from the little bit that was remaining from this year to the taxes next year, and to be able to spend. And so the second half of that section is again regarding the expenditures. The first one is what we call replacement schedules. And that's kind of the chart, the graph after the pie chart there, that kind of goes everywhere from asphalt, boilers, carpet, concrete. And again, you can go through that list: painting, restrooms, roofing, sprinkler systems, indoor-outdoor technology also has a part of that, the vehicles, windows, and so forth. And so that, again, totals for, 4.3 million. Again, a majority of our HVAC, the entirety of our HVAC projects this year are being funded by ESSER. This is the last year for that, so we'll absorb that into next year's SIP requests as well. And so that's kind of, again, a large amount, 4.3 million for replacement schedules that benefit all of our districts. Again, all 23 student-occupied schools. I saw the number even just last week, almost 1.6 million square feet of student-occupied space that the district is responsible for, and this helps pay.
And just a little explanation on
Please.
that. I'm really impressed with the principals coming and making a list of, we need this painted, and there's a leak here, there's some desks that need, just all the different details that they're responsible for in their schools, and they do a really good job. I went through Pokey and Century. They have done a really good job of this is where that money comes from, to replace things that are in need of replacing.
Yes.
And I've had a lot of people misunderstand, where does that money go to?
Mm-hmm.
It's fixing things, fixing asphalt, replacing roofs, repainting, recarpeting when it's needed. Anyway, that's something that I don't think I understood before, and I don't think a lot of people understand.
Okay.
That's where that plant facilities money goes.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, this is, they in the industry, they call it PM, preventive maintenance. That's what these replacement schedules are. Again, and what, Ms. Judy, what you were talking about is, again, Exhibit A, Exhibit B, interior needs, exterior needs, and you can see the dollar amounts, again, from secondary and elementary to go there. Equipment also comes out of this as well. The next graph, there's one that just a little one that shows the annual recurring maintenance. But the other large amount is our additional major projects. And so that one is, we estimate budget about 4.4 million. Again, you can kind of see the list there. It finishes out the high schools with Highland receiving a team room and bathroom down there on the lower field, Century and their turf field. And then again shows parking lot. Again, remember last year we had some money there for Highland. This was, of course, before the fire. Took a look at Highland's parking as well. We need to do another major project, some plumbing in Unit 2 of Pocatello High School, and then building out an addition onto the Arches building, the former Voice and Link there. So you can see what we estimate there, our best ability there. These are, again, the major projects, and these will finish their finish some of these items that we've been trying to enhance with our schools there.
Yeah, I do want to say something about this, that it's been a huge undertaking to try to make sure that all the schools have what they need for band, soccer. It's not just one thing, it's so many things.
Absolutely.
It's the turf fields. I didn't appreciate until I really understood, heard Travis talk about it, and many other people talk about how much that is used and how different it is than the grass.
Absolutely.
On the grass, you can't have everybody on there all the time,
Correct.
or else it's ruined.
Yep.
But with the turf, it makes it wide open to the band can practice and march on that 50-yard line as much as they want to.
Correct.
And soccer and all of the different, it just opens it up for everybody. And so the very last high school to get that would be Century. And so I feel that we need to make sure that they have that.
Yeah,
So that those kids have the same opportunities
absolutely.
that the other schools have, even in the face of, we do have to prioritize the fire.
Sure.
We have to, but at the same time, we can't sacrifice. And that's why we have to ask for the bond, because we can't sacrifice the needs of the rest of the kids in the district
Yep.
when we have a tragedy like that. And that's why I supported the bond. That's why I would wish that if we do this again, I would hope that could be communicated.
Absolutely. Thank you.
That
That's very
it's
well said. Thank
important.
you.
It's
Yep.
important to know that.
It is. And all of these, again, we looked at the priorities and some we needed, okay, we'll save that for another year. But these are.
And
these are ones-
we had to put off extra things.
Sure.
But things where it's part of their core learning experience
Yeah.
and their core opportunities, those things can't be sacrificed.
Yeah. One thing I, just again on our turf fields, that one thing I didn't realize is that, spring sports are always so difficult. Getting out of the snow, getting out of the mud. Well, the driest spot, the first dry spot in the spring are these turf fields. So that will get our athletes, get our students outside in good spring weather, and, on some dry field, to have PE.
The
Get
PE
the band
classes
out.
throughout the
Correct.
day
Correct.
can just run all they want.
Whereas before it was mud.
Where before you had to preserve when
Yeah.
when there's a game or when it's too muddy, or now it's wide open.
Yep.
So I feel like this is a really good investment for our kids.
Yep.
And I appreciate it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Great, thanks. And then the last one, we kind of split as we talked as district administration and the capital improvement committee as well, that we would save for future projects is what we called, and is roughly 4 to 5, sometimes 5.5 million. This is kind of where we put if there's anything that's not done. But this year, again, to help prioritize with that fire, we thought, okay, let's put half of that, so 2.5 million, for the enhancement of Highland. And we'll determine and the board will determine what that looks like. And then we'll save 2.5 as a contingency reserve or for future projects. So we are fiscally responsible as well, so if one of these projects, something does come back a little bit higher, we have a little savings, just like we all try to have in our own personal budgets to kind of buffer that a little bit. So that's that last part. I estimate, again, it's about $5 million kind of split there that we should have for the Highland High School enhancements and the future projects.
And I did have somebody specifically ask me, when you're doing these big projects, and with the rebuilding of Highland, with all these different things, what happens if you run out of money? And that contingency fund, that's what that's there for. And we would hope that the planning would be exact enough that we would make it.
Correct. And all these major projects, will be bid out, through the proper bidding procedures and so forth. And again, just the last little slide again, that we appreciate, it's over 60 years that our community has supported the school plant facilities. And so we sure do appreciate that. So this SIP overview is before you for action. And again, the individual items of the replacement schedules that get bid out, major projects will come to you and show you the bid results and to award those. Any questions? I think I took enough time there.
Thank you, Jonathan.
Okay.
Okay, next on the agenda is our superintendent's report.
Okay, thanks, Mr. Chairman. Just one item for me, and that's a calendar, and it's not very lengthy because we have a nice holiday break in the middle of all that. But earlier this evening, we had a reception for Mr. Vitale, as he will be taking leave in January. And also, we were able to recognize Alan Spidell for, as our school plant coordinator. And excited about their opportunities that lie ahead, and thanks, gracious thanks for all that they've done for the school district and essentially our community. Tomorrow night, we have student discipline, just a couple of those for you, and then right after executive session, personnel. That will be, we've scheduled just about a half hour for that. And then again, you can see that winter break. And then coming back on Tuesday, January 9th, that will be a community prevention meeting, but also the board work session and oath of office as we seat the new board member, Mr. Raymond Knopf. And that'll start at 3:30. And then regular board meeting a week later on the 16th. Not sure about some student hearings possibly calendared in there in between. Typically, those run every other week, but just kind of keep that on your mind. We'll see how it goes. And then the 23rd will be our Key Communicators Network meeting for January. And then mentioned earlier on the new calendar, but for this year, all-day parent-teacher conference, no school on February 2nd. And then February, we'll also pick up school visits again. Because the first Tuesday fell on the day that we return, that's kind of a day of transition for our learners and our staff to get things underway. And so maybe we just give them that day to get back to the new school year. Well, the new calendar year. How about that?
I think I'd let Renee, so Tuesday mornings are no longer good for me.
Okay,
So,
Not great for me either.
okay.
I
So
told you
that's
that
perfect.
Already too.
so
Yeah, I
we may have
did,
to look at another day.
when we bring the board school.
Oh, in January.
Yeah, in January, the school board meeting schedule, and then I can have like kind of a draft school visit
Okay.
schedule, and we can talk about
And maybe we
the
can
times that
Throw
work
some
for
dates out there
everybody.
that do work well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay.
somehow another Tuesday meeting just came up and it conflicts now every time.
Okay,
That happened to me too.
all right.
So-
Yeah, we can make it work.
But I have other days, so
Okay, all right.
maybe one.
Well,
We'll
Two.
figure it out.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
that's it for me.
Okay, so on to action, well, let's see. Okay, next we have public written comment pertinent to the action items, or agenda agenda action items, and no written comment was received. I don't have any, so we'll move on to action items. First action item is businesses to approve the alternate route to graduation. Is there a motion?
I move we approve the alternate route to graduation as requested.
Is there a second?
A sec.
Is there any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? I hear none. That motion passed. The next item of business to approve the purchase of the revised second edition of the fourth grade, the Idaho Venture textbook. Is there a motion?
I move that we approve the textbook, I guess, based on making sure that everything's good.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion?
Can't really change the motion, huh?
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? I hear none. That motion passed. Next item of business to adopt the 24-25 school district calendar. Is there a motion?
I hereby move that the board adopt the 2024-2025 school district calendar as presented.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? I hear none. That motion passed. Next item of business to approve the Head Start self-assessment procedure. Is there a motion?
Hereby move that the board approve the Head Start self-assessment procedure as presented.
Is there a second? Okay, is there any discussion? And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? I hear none. That motion passed. Next item of business to approve the out-of-state overnight travel request. Is there a motion?
I move we approve the out-of-state overnight travel request as presented.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? I hear none. That motion passed. Next item is to approve the camp request. Is there a motion?
I hereby move that we approve the camp requests as presented.
Is there a second?
I'll second
Is there a discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? I hear none, that motion also passed. Next item of business is to approve the Westmark Credit Union Sponsorship Agreement Addendum. Is there a motion?
I hereby move that the board approve the Westmark Credit Union Sponsorship Agreement Addendum as presented.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? I hear none, that motion passed. The final item of business is to approve the capital improvement program plan for the 24-25 year. Is there a motion?
Hereby move that the board approve the capital improvement program projects plan for 24-25 as presented.
Is there a second?
Second.
Oh,
Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? I hear none, that motion passed. We do have one more item of business. We don't want to forget.
No.
Being as this is the last board meeting for Mr. Paul Vitale, who has served on this committee or on this board for 11 years, and appreciate his dedicated service and all the time that he's put in for it. So we have a very nice plaque to present to you, Paul.
No. Thank you.
Just know that we appreciate all that you've done, and you will be well missed. And we wish you well in your adventures and whatever you're going to be doing, so.
Thank you.
Come on back for some ribbon cutting.
Oh, yeah, do that.
Absolutely.
Okay, well, hopefully we'll see you out and about and doing things, so,
Sure. Thanks so much.
yeah, thank you. That includes this meeting. Now to entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll move that we adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's
Is there any discussion?
great that you're the one
All in
that,
favor?
aye.
I, that you said that.